Oh man, I'm like really overwhelmed right now. I'm about 4 hours removed from the press screening at the time of recording, and the sad face isn't because I hate this film. It's because it's the end of the Skywalker Saga. Let's get into it. What's going on, you guys? James here, and I'm gonna keep it real with you. Star Wars Episode 9, yeah, it's gonna break your heart. But before I explain whether or not that's a good or a bad thing, if this is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. Now, if you're wondering who that is, that's me, and I love talking all about movies. So each and every week, I drop a new video. You're not gonna wanna miss out. And tap the little bell right next to it so you stay up to date with anything new that I drop each and every day. Don't forget to like this video, share it with all of your friends in the galaxy, and in the comments below, let me know, do you think J.J. Abrams can save the Star Wars franchise? Alrighty guys, so I think I'm ready to finally talk about Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. This is the end of an era. This is huge. No man. Star Wars Episode 9 is directed by J.J. Abrams, in case you've been living under a rock, and it's written by Chris Terrio and J.J. himself. Episode 9 takes place a number of years after the events of The Last Jedi. While Rey is in the midst of her training, Finn and Poe are going out and investigating a very mysterious message sent out by Emperor Palpatine. Now, we know him to be dead, but in this, he might be alive. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the plot because that's something I want to keep under wraps. This is a spoiler-free review, trust me. I am going to touch on a little bit of what J.J. Abrams did with the characters, but not explicitly. I'm just going to talk about whether he succeeded or not. I'm going to be very vague in areas, and yeah, I'm probably going to have to drop a spoiler review eventually. So there's a lot to love about this movie, and there's a little that I didn't like. So let's dive into a few things I felt JJ missed the mark on. Now, if you saw my Last Jedi review, I mentioned that Finn didn't get a really big chunk of screen time, and John Boyega is a great actor. I love his character, especially with what J.J. Abrams did in The Force Awakens, building him up to be this really great hero who fights for right and righteousness. And he does that again in The Rise of Skywalker, but guys, he's relegated to a side piece. I mean, literally, he's put off to the side in so many moments, and his character does get involved with some important tasks. But overall, he's really just a supporting character, and that's such a shame. Once again, while he does get more screen time, he's just lacking in terms of importance on screen, and that stinks. Now, within the film, there are some dynamics that are touched on, and J.J. Abrams does hint at, leaving, again, breadcrumbs for the audience to follow along. Unfortunately, there were some relationships that went unresolved. Yeah, I'm talking about a certain two that I really wanted to get together. That's as much as I'll say about that. And then there are some other relationships they tease, and man, it just kind of doesn't go anywhere, and I'm sad because once the film ends, I was hoping for more backstory on that, and I wanted to see JJ really just dive into those dynamic relationships, and he didn't do that. And then there's something else that just didn't sit right with me for the first 20 minutes or so in The Rise of Skywalker. The film is pretty choppy in the first act, and what I mean by that is that there's a lot of world jumping where you go from planet to planet, scenario to scenario, but in this movie, nothing really settles too well in the first 20 minutes, and that's because we're going ahead and looking at what Kylo's doing, then going to Rey, then we have to go to Finn and Poe, and then we have to go to Chewie, and I feel like you're going back and forth, and of course you have to fit in Leia. It's tough because JJ's balancing between making this a film on its own and the ending to literally a 40+ year saga. Now, this might not be a negative for many people because I know a lot of people didn't like The Last Jedi. I did, and I sensed very quickly that The Rise of Skywalker had a very different tone than The Last Jedi. Episode 8 felt very serious to me, while Episode 9 had a more playful, jovial feel. And yeah, there were a lot of dark, gritty moments, and we'll touch up on that on things that I loved about the movie. But Episode 9 didn't feel very grounded like Episode 8 did. So does that mean The Rise of Skywalker is not a good film? Not at all. It just means the drama is not as strong as Episode 8. Now let's move on to what made Episode 9 a very fitting conclusion to the Skywalker Saga. And yeah, that's probably a good jumping off point. The way JJ wrapped everything up was pretty fun and awesome to just kind of witness on the big screen. There were so many different twists and turns that I felt actually hit the mark for me. Trust me, I had those moments where I was getting up out of my chair a little bit. There are a ton of wow moments, and I think that's attributed to the grand scale of Episode 9. I mean, JJ's really good at tracking shots and making things look huge. And in this film, my goodness, some of these battle sequences in space blew my mind. There are moments on land where I'm thinking, how did he even pull off this angle? And the movie magic here is A+. It's outstanding. I mean, we've all seen the trailer where Kylo Ren and Rey are just fighting and duking it out. This lightsaber battle in real time within the context of the movie, Guys, that's like a top 5 Star Wars moment, man. It's great. So let's talk about the focal point of this film, because JJ really did focus on Kylo Ren and Rey. Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver in this movie are out of this world. I think Adam Driver delivers the best performance in the franchise to date. It's emotional. I mean, every time he cries, I cry. And then you have Daisy Ridley giving another strong performance. I mean, she's so fit for the role. She's the only person I can actually see playing Rey. And yeah, the movie did put a spotlight on both of these actors, so it was easy to see how much they've grown over the course of this new trilogy. Oh, and don't worry, what I will say is that both of their character arcs were completed in a great way. But the question on my mind was, are we gonna get enough spotlight for Poe, for Finn, for some of these new characters, and even Billy D. Williams returning? The answer is, for the most part, it's serviceable, but Oscar Isaac definitely gets the chunk of that supporting character role. I mean, he's basically positioned to be the number 3 behind Rey and Kylo. I'm okay with it because I love Oscar Isaac, but I was really hoping for a bit more screen time with a lot of our different supporting characters, and especially a couple of new ones. Now, there were some moments with characters that I felt were pretty natural, and a lot of them came in the form of fan service. Now, I get it. Guys, fan service can be really good or really bad. Luckily, in episode 9, the fan service here worked for me. It didn't really take away from moments, and trust me, Lando is amazing. I mean, Billy D. Williams, it looks like of course, he's aged, but I really do feel like his delivery was so smooth. It was crisp. It had this like old wise man feel, you know? It was pretty awesome. So there are a couple different story threads left to talk about, and that's Palpatine and Leia, because as we know, Carrie Fisher passed away before they started actually filming for The Rise of Skywalker. Now, it still hurts to say that, and the way they handled her character was really good in this film. That's all I'll say. It's really great. But what I found more impressive was how JJ took some of the old footage from The Force Awakens and made it fit effortlessly into this plot. And then there's the second big topic of discussion in this film, and that's the return of Palpatine. Guys, let me just say this. The way JJ handled bringing him back and explaining how he came back, it worked. Now, I'm not gonna say it was aces all across the board, because I'm not gonna lie. It had to grow on me a little bit. But what his character is involved with in this film, yeah, it's pretty epic. Now, this next positive sounds kind of like a complaint at first, but trust me, it's not. This is not the most visually appealing Star Wars film in this sequel trilogy. Now, that's saying a lot because episodes 7 and 8 were amazingly shot films. The Rise of Skywalker still is a wonderful movie to look at, but I just think a lot of the emotion doesn't come from the cinematography department. So yeah, it still looks good, but it's not really as engaging visually as The Last Jedi. Oh, and there's one more thing we have to talk about, just one, and I promise, again, spoiler free. There's a risk that Rian Johnson took in The Last Jedi that J.J. Abrams continued with in this film. Made me smile, and that's all I'm gonna say, is that it was very well executed, and I'm really glad that J.J. didn't retcon everything that Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi. And of course, everyone's gonna be asking, did this really feel like a fitting end for the Skywalker saga? For me, I really do feel that this was a very good conclusion. The way it was written, the final shot, literally the last line in this film, made me almost want to tear up. It was just so well done, and I really have to applaud J.J. Abrams for taking such a huge responsibility of literally ending a huge part of not only my childhood, but the childhoods of so many others across the world. Yeah, you're gonna like episode 9 if you're looking for a wild ride and a very nice finish. So without saying too much more, do I love episode 9? I really like it. There are elements that are still growing on me right now, so on a second viewing, I think I might come around and say I love this movie, but I really, really like episode 9. But if I had to rate it on a scale of 5 stars, I'm giving it a 4.5 because there were a few things I didn't agree with, a couple of directions I wish they would have taken differently, but J.J. Abrams did a nice job at solidifying the end of the Skywalker saga. There were heartbreaking moments, heartwarming moments, and trust me, when those end credits ran, I just didn't want to leave my seat because I just knew that this was the end and it was such a nice ending. Alrighty, you guys, so there you have it. That's my review of Star Wars Episode 9. The Rise of Skywalker. I cannot believe that this saga is done, but you know your boy's gonna be first in line for that new trilogy whenever they make it. But you don't need to wait until then to get more Star Wars videos and plenty of more reviews to come. Go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video, share it with all of your friends in the galaxy, and in the comments below, let me know. Is this a great ending to the Skywalker saga, or did J.J. Abrams completely miss the mark? Oh, sorry, just reminiscing. Alrighty, you guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. I mean, even if I did cry, y'all will never know. Okay, yeah, I got choked up, but whatever.